Welcome to Family Goals with David Pollack and Pastor Jay. This is episode 2.
Part 2.
So we are rocking and
I got
rolling.
coffee, so whatever happens, it's going to get weird.
We got you some coffee.
Let's go.
We're rolling in a 5.0 with a rag top down, so my hair can't blow.
That's
Girl
what I'm
is on the
talking about.
standby waiting just
Okay,
to say.
stop. We're good. That's good. It's good. Got a point. Got it.
You got that?
Got it, yeah.
So, yeah, Jennifer gets really embarrassed when I start singing.
Yeah, well, we all have gifts. Singing probably isn't one of yours. It's
Yeah.
definitely not one of mine. I don't even sound good in the shower. I don't sound good with music on. That's when you're really bad. When you listen to music and you go, man, I sound horrible, you're bad.
Yeah.
You probably need to stop singing.
I'm definitely bad, but we're more athletes than we are musicians.
Yes, we
are. You know, I want the people in the podcast world to know that Pastor Jay is a really good athlete as well, and it's arguably at different points in the season of Graystone Church that I was the best athlete.
Okay.
At Graystone Church.
What year was this?
Probably year 1. Probably when it was just my family.
When there was 12 people, I was the best athlete.
Yeah, when Jolin was 6.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But you can share that you were an All-American, right? Weren't you?
I was an All-American.
Tennis counts,
Yeah.
right?
You better, but tennis is probably Roger Federer is one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Disagree strongly. Disagree completely strongly. He's the best, one of the best tennis players of all time, but he's not one of the best athletes of all time.
Yeah.
But he is silky smooth. All right. Family goals.
Family goals.
We probably need to talk
what
family
are we?
goals.
Do we want to get into it?
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit.
Well, today I want us to talk about parenting, and I want to talk about our kids. I want to make a few statements.
Okay.
Every child is a miracle. Every child is a gift from heaven. And being a parent is one of the greatest callings in life. I put it up there, like I'm called to be a pastor. You're called to, what are you called to do?
I don't know if y'all I'm called to be a pastor, and what do? You talk, right? That's all you do is talk. I think one of my callings that not only parenting was a big calling, but I think working with kids, youth, I think coaching, it's been a calling on my heart, and it'll continue to be. And at some point, it'll be a bigger calling, and it will grow to my role. Right now, I'm coaching Nicholas's football team. This is my last year. I'll coach my son, so this is wrapping that up. But I could see high school coaching or college coaching or something like that in my future too. Yeah. But still learning. But I know it's not as important as your pastor calling. Goodness gracious.
Well, I didn't really mean it that way.
But,
I think everybody's called to do something.
Yeah.
And God has uniquely gifted us to do something that only we can do. And, God's using you to do things that nobody else can do. So I appreciate how you use your platform to be positive, spread the good news. You were just telling me that you and Coach Rick spoke to a bunch of youth. Yeah,
I've done a couple of speaking engagements with Coach Rick. He's doing great too. And even when the Parkinson's, not surprisingly, you hear him, the way he comes out and addresses it, it's not surprising. He's like, listen, my body might fail me here on earth, but it's going to be perfect one day in heaven, and I'm not worried about it. Like, God's in control. But yeah, we've done several speaking engagements, and he's Coach Rick's got a really good personality that he doesn't show a lot. Just like, here's a story. I don't know if I should tell it or not. So Coach Rick called me and he was like, hey man, thinking about doing TV. Would you put in a good word for me? I was like, okay. What's the stipulation? Here's my stipulation, Coach. I said, I will talk to ESPN. I will talk to them. I said, but when you do interviews, you're boring. I was like, I said, the Coach Rick I know behind closed doors, playing racquetball, playing, like, competing with you. Like, I know you've got a little edge to you and a little bite. The Coach Rick that you put on television and you do interviews and stuff, that's not going to be much fun to watch. And he was like, I appreciate the honest feedback. And he's done a great job. He's transitioned and he tells stories and he kind of lets his personality shine through. But it's been good. He wrote a book, and we'll get him on one day. I think that'd be good to have him on, to come on and talk with us. But he's right here in Athens now, right down the road from us. But yeah, awesome. He's doing awesome things speaking. But he's somebody that I look to too with, we'll read books together, and we're reading Kingdom Man by Tony Evans. And it's a really, really good book. But somebody that always poured into me and had a strong influence with me with my faith. So I've always been appreciative to him.
I definitely love to get Coach Rick on the show.
We can do that.
And that's part of our plan here. We want to bring other guests on. We don't have anybody lined up at the moment.
Not yet.
But you know people.
We don't even know what we're going to do with this podcast
You know more. You know a lot more people than I do.
We know we're going to try to have fun and tell stories and give you guys things to maybe focus on that, you know, we're reading about or hearing about or talking about, things that we have screwed up, things that we've done well possibly, and try to inspire, because that's we're all learning. We're all learning in the journey, right? Like we're figuring it out as we go. And so I think there's a lot of things that we can discuss back and forth with a lot of different people that can give perspectives. I mean, Coach Rick's got some great stories about how he got saved and faith became a big priority for him that people have never heard that are just phenomenal. So I think we'll find guys like that that can come in and tell stories and hopefully inspire you and motivate you to have a great day, because you got that choice today. We can have a great day.
Well, we're talking about the high calling of being a parent. And I think having a child, obviously, God blesses us with children, then he's called us to be a parent. And it's a huge responsibility to be a parent. And I think every parent can relate to that freak out moment. I remember when Jennifer and I, we became pregnant. We've been married for like a year and a half, 2 years.
I like that. We became pregnant.
Well, it took both of us.
I like that. It's good leadership. Always use we when it talks to about your spouse. When you talk about your church, it's always a we thing, not an I thing. I like that. We became pregnant.
I did my part.
I like that.
And I did get in trouble because I don't know if you guys did this, but we went to the pre-birth classes. Are they called Lamaze?
Lamaze, yeah.
The breathing classes, yeah. And we'd been about 7 of them, like Monday nights, right during Monday Night Football.
Oh, man.
And this is back before football was on every night of the week.
So you wanted to take advantage of it.
This was like, Monday night was the only night it was on. And
after class 1, did you learn anything new if we're into week 7?
No, this is like week 7. So, we were doing these breathing exercises and I fell asleep in those classes.
Were we sitting in chairs?
We were like laying down on mats. I don't know.
Okay, I understand that. If we were sitting up, I'm like, how are we going to fall asleep? But you were so laying down on mats, going like.
But we did so we did all this training for the birth.
Yeah.
And so when Jolyn shows up, this is our son, who happens to be over here. Are you the producer of this podcast?
One of them. Hey, they'll produce me a sandwich. Okay, continue. Go.
Producing some more coffee.
Yes, thank you.
So we do all this preparation for the birth, and he was 2 weeks late, and took an all day thing, and everybody was there, and this huge celebration, and he's born, and we had painted his room yellow because we weren't sure if it was a boy or a girl, but it ended up being a Winnie the Pooh, deal, and so we bring him home.
Yellow.
Yeah, it was a cute little nursery.
Okay,
we lived in a little small house. Anyway, so we bring him home in the car carrier. And we set him down in the middle. He was sleeping. And we set him down in the middle of his Winnie the Pooh bedroom. And Jennifer and I just looked at each other and were like, now what? It was one of those freak out moments because we did all these classes on the birth and all that. And we got the nursery ready. But it's like, you don't get a license. You don't have to get a license to become a parent. You don't have to go to school. There's no education. Did you guys have any training, or did y'all read some books or anything?
Yeah. And my favorite part was my parents. Yeah. We had 2 dogs, Maverick and Memphis, and they're like, it's awesome training to be a parent. And I look back now, I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? No, it's not. I put that sucker in the cage. So no, I think we all have expectations, and we all have I want to do this, or I'm going to be this. But I know one of my goals in life was to be a dad. And it was one of my biggest things I was looking forward to. But no, I didn't know. And plus your maturity level and what you're able to function and what you're able to listen to. I think we're probably both better listeners now at our ages than we were then. And I kind of had it all figured out. I don't know if you would have probably hated the 20 version of me. A lot of people hated the 20 version of me, so you wouldn't be alone. But
I had a few people mention that.
100%. Exceptionally confident. Confident.
I'm not going to mention any names.
Confidence, the word for sure. But I just, I think you definitely get that surprise, and then what's next, and you better be ready. And I think that's when they're little, though. I think it's the easy part. I think it's easy when they're little because they don't know the difference. I do remember. I remember the nurse grabbing Nicholas and like flipping him over real quick and slapping a diaper on him, and like I'm like, chill out, sister. Like, what are you like? Simmer down here. And then I was like, you're gonna break him. And then you have Leah, and you're like, I mean, you have your second, and the second time you're going through, you're like, yeah, you flip them off. We know they're not gonna break. I've already tried. I tried with the other one, and it didn't break. So. But how do we start learning? How do we take our first steps?
Yeah, I think we're talking about family goals. And so like the goal the first night was, is he still breathing?
Did he make it through the night?
I don't know if y'all did that, but like going into the bedroom, like
check a couple times.
Is he still alive? And then there was this huge debate over, are they supposed to be on their side? Are they supposed to be on their back? And I don't know if y'all.
Oh yeah. And then you research it, you study it.
Yeah. But I think then later on you start setting these other goals. I think ultimately, for me, the goal is what are they going to be like when they're 40 years old?
Yep.
And I think people get caught up, and I really want to get, at some point we're going to get into youth sports.
We got plenty of time, bro.
Because
we're making so much money on this podcast, we're getting paid to do this. No, we're not.
Yeah, currently the Family Goals podcast does not have any sponsors.
Yeah, subscribers 0, but we're working on that. We're gonna get up. In
we
the
need some
quickly.
subscribers and some sponsors.
Yeah, we'll get there.
So right now we're just going,
now we're going hashtag small family goals.
Yeah, there's no.
We're having one.
Oh, this is a good news club.
Sweet,
but we'll get some.
We'll get more. But I think.
No, but what do you want them to be like when they're 40?
Yeah.
Because I think people get caught up, like if you ever go to a T-ball baseball game.
Oof.
And like my kids, they did.
Pay attention.
Yeah. Well, everyone's there. So it's like in T-ball, it's like mom and dad are there, grandparents are there, the neighbors there, the aunts and everyone thinks their kid's going to be the next Chipper Jones, the next Jeff Francoeur. When they're in T-ball.
Yeah.
But then they slowly fade away. By the time you get to high school, it's like you might have one parent showing up for a game.
See, my goal was for my baseball goals were very clear and very simple when they first started. Try to get them to quit. That was my goal.
Yeah, I didn't want to like baseball.
Stinks. It's the worst sport on the planet. It's just so slow. I just didn't love. But I think if you are a parent and do have a kid in sports, like we'll get to this, I'm sure, in more depth, but like, don't make it about results. Everything is about attitude. Everything is about having fun. And then let them know. And again, this is through screwing it up. Like, this is the same guy, me, that grabbed Nicholas by the head. And I was like, what are you doing? I mean, when he was 6 years old, 5 years old, like, I've already messed that up, but I've found along the way, man, if you can just encourage it, make it fun, like find a way to make it fun. For me, to this day, my kids are 13 and 11. To this day, it requires a prayer before I go play something with them. And that's just, dude, you know how I'm wired. You've been around me I'm keeping score.
You are the most competitive person I have ever been around.
And it's a really good thing,
my life.
And it's a really bad thing, okay? When your wife goes to bed crying when you're playing board games, it's a bad thing, bro. Like, simmer down. It's not that big of a deal. But
so do you let the kids You ever let the kids beat you?
And we've had that conversation too. Like, we're going to talk about this. When you beat me, you earned it. Like, when you beat me, just know that you've really, really earned it. Now, we'll skew it. Like, we'll do 3-point contests, and I have to step a few steps back or something like that. That makes it more fun. But no, it's just, don't make it about performance. Don't make it about hits. Make it about fun. Make it about, are you giving all you got? Well, then you won. Because what you're going to realize down the road, at some point I finally realized, is like, you can't control whether you win or you lose every situation. I thought I could. I thought I controlled that, but you don't. At some point, people are better than you. Mm-hmm. And at some point, that day is going to come. Now, not for you with tennis, because you were the NCAA champion, right? Like, you didn't have to worry about that. But,
Well, I lost in the finals. Runner up.
How did you, what was the score?
Second place.
First place loser.
6-4, 6-2.
So what did it come down to? This is, so let me preface this. This is 1982, right? Ish?
91.
Okay, 91.
91.
A little bit off.
Well,
who do we play? Do we know his name? Do you remember his name, who you played in the finals?
Well, in the quarterfinals, I played this guy from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I don't remember his name.
God bless
he was
you.
number 2 in the nation. And I was up a set 2-0. I believe it was 30-15. I don't know if you know tennis.
Yes, were you serving?
I was serving.
Okay, so you're up. You
I'm
already
up a break.
got a break.
I'm up a break and I'm up a
set.
set. And instead of hitting a flat serve up the middle, I ended up hitting a kick serve.
Okay.
And he ends up, I come to the net, he hits a winner past me. And then it's like the whole momentum shifted, and he ends up beating me in 3 sets. And literally every day of my life for probably the next 10 or 15 years, you could ask Jennifer, I would say, I should have hit a flat serve up the middle.
That's amazing. Hey,
but the guys we lost to in the doubles championship were from Cal Davis. I don't know their names, but anyway,
you don't know their names.
It has nothing to do with any of this.
But it does. It does. First of all, we want to highlight your amazing athletic ability along this journey by Pastor Jay, and then we won't talk about. I like talking about that stuff, that failure. I like that because you either fail forward or you fail backwards.
Yeah,
like you got a choice, right? Like you're gonna choose that. And
I think God uses failure to put you in a different direction, and maybe not even failure, but circumstances.
Yeah.
I wasn't good enough to play professional sports, but yet God calls me to be a pastor. Not that calling is any higher than anybody else.
You already said that was higher. We already determined that in the start.
But I think
I'm called to be a pastor. You're called to be what?
But I mean, your dreams were to be in the NFL, and you obviously have the talent to do that. But you had the neck injury, which God ends up leading you.
It's gone
to do something else.
Boom! It's gone. That dream's gone. What are you gonna do? Yeah. So I mean, I think we'll talk a lot about that, and that's everybody listening and everybody on the planet can tell you about adversity, can tell you about times that got tough, and you're going to have to learn how to handle those. However you are, you're going to have to learn what motivates you, what keeps you going, what drives you, because it's different for everybody. But you gotta let failure be a motivating factor for success. That's for sure. You got to let it lead you to the next positive outcome, and you got to, because listen, here's the thing: with our walk, we're going to fail. Like, newsflash, everybody listening, even Pastor Jay, who was called to be a pastor, still fails. Like, we're all going to. But that doesn't mean we quit. That doesn't mean we let that discourage us and stop us from trying to be a great Christian the next day or a great person the next day. But you're going to have to help. You're going to have to do that. And guess what? Your family, as the leader of your family, as a man in your family, you're going to have to teach your kids how to handle failure. You're going to have to teach your kids how to handle disappointment. And that's, for me, sports has been that. Like, it's been the best teacher for my son. Like, Nicholas likes everything in a box and everything's perfect and school's easy. Check that box and I can keep my room clean and I can play with my Legos and create my own little land and everything's hunky-dory, fine and dandy. But what happens when he goes on a sports team and now you lose because of your teammate? You lose because you weren't good enough. You failed. You struck out in the 9th inning. Like, you hit a kick serve wide. That's your fault. You should have hit a flat serve down the middle. I mean, it's learning experiences that we get to come beside him and say, what could you have done different? Yeah. Like, how do we handle this? Like, what are we going to do next time that changes this? You're not going to necessarily change the outcome, but you can change the thought process, right?
Yeah, and I love the idea that our kids can go on to do greater things than we have done in a positive way, not a negative way. Now, I see a lot of dads who are trying to live vicariously through their kids, like they didn't make it as a college athlete or whatever their goal was, so they want that to happen to their kids. But I love the idea that our kids could go on to have a greater impact for Christ
100%
than we could have, and then helping them find their calling in life, helping them find God's purpose and plan for their life. I think ultimately that's the goal of a parent. It says in Proverbs 22:6, train a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he not turn from it. So we're constantly training our kids. You start off with the potty training.
Yeah.
And then, you're training them.
What did you bribe yours with potty training? Do you remember what you bribed yours with potty training?
Man, that has been so long ago.
I always find that fascinating. We've always had that conversation with a bunch of friends and stuff, like, because we did, like, Leah was buffalo pretzels. I know your house, it had to be candy, but like Leah was buffalo pretzels, and it was always hilarious. Every time we always told that to people, it's like, what? It was spicy pretzels. She always wanted spicy pretzels. Again, sorry, been hitting the head a lot of flashbacks to when they were little. But
yeah, I think ultimately the goals for them is we raise them up in such a way that we're sending them out into the world, and they're gonna be all that God's created them to be.
But if you're a parent and you've been there, done that, and messed it up, like, you're not alone. I mean, we've done that. We've been there, messed it up. It's okay to be competitive in sports. Like, I'm super competitive in sports, but you just got to find your balance. Like, you got to find the difference between trying to make your kid something and your kid because here's the thing, everybody, it doesn't matter who you are. You don't determine your success of your kid. You don't determine if your kid's going to be a stud athlete, if he's going to be really good at high school sports, et cetera. They determine that. Mm-hmm. Like, they're going to determine that. When they get in high school, they're going to make a decision. I'm going to lift weights. I'm going to bust my butt. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to practice. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. You can't do it for them. So, like, you can't teach them how to be an adult for them. They have to experience it. You can't pick their friends for them their whole life. I wish I could. That would be awesome. I wish my mom would have done that for me. I mean, it has saved, be careful who you hang out with. You'll get in trouble. Like, I get it. I get it more now. So I think all that stuff, you're going to fail, but we're helping them make those decisions. We can't make them for them. And so I think we've all messed it up. We're all going to continue to mess it up, but try to help them make those decisions. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a saying at the church, we're not perfect. We don't expect you to be. And that certainly applies to being a parent. Yep. We've all made mistakes. And I think ultimately it comes down to trusting God. Like, God, we're trusting you with these kids. You know, God loves our kids more than we love our kids.
Yep.
And so, what do you think when I talk about on the next podcast?
I don't know. I'm not the planner. Let's be clear. Like, I'm the reactor. Okay, you got those notes in front of you over there. Like,
I know I forgot to look at them.
Wherever you serve it, I'm going to return it. Okay. I remember I bet you that was 7 or 8 years ago when you did the ping pong, like, however you hit it to the, when you fold the ping pong table in half, however you hit it, and then it responds back. Parents, that's how we're supposed to respond back. That's how I'm going to respond back. Just whatever.
What are you talking about?
You did that sermon, bro.
Oh, I did?
Yes. Wow.
I don't even remember it.
Jeez.
I was thinking you're confused.
Excuse me, your calling was so great. So above everybody else. My bad, guys. Don't even remember your sermon. Hey, you know what? It impacted me at least, okay? I remembered it.
I can't even remember my sermon from Sunday.
It wasn't that good. It wasn't your best work. Let's put it that way.
Oh, my gosh. All right. So let's give a few disclaimers, and then we'll wrap this one up.
Okay.
The first one is we're not parenting experts.
No.
We don't have any degrees in parenting.
I don't have any degrees, period. What's our other ones?
I'm not going to say.
Have the sheet.
I'm not going to say what came to mind there. We're not perfect parents, and our kids aren't perfect. But we do have some experience.
We have some experience. We have a lot of failure you can lean on.
We have almost 40 years of combined parenting experience between the two of us. So I have a little more than you.
Well, I mean, you also have a granddaughter, so.
Yeah.
Jesse. He has a 13-year-old. We already talked about it. He's 60, so that's kind of a.
I'm not 60. I do have a 13-year-old daughter. She was a surprise. Not a surprise to God.
It was a great surprise.
Yeah, it was a great surprise.
So we lovingly call it your granddaughter.
We affectionately call Jessie,
which is awesome.
Our granddaughter.
Which I want people to know that when we talk about your granddaughter, we got to get those stories in there, right?
Got to get them in there. Okay.
So next week,
let's wrap it up for today. We'll figure out next week.
Yeah, it'll be good.
All right, it's gonna be phenomenal.
You'll hear that word a lot with Pastor Jay too. Boom.
All right, thank you for joining us for episode 2 of Family Goals with David Pollack and Pastor Jay.